Hi, everybody. I'm getting off to a bit of a late start today. I've been working like crazy. It's Sunday, November 13th. Last night we finally played a gig with the immediate family out at the Canyon, uh, and it was just a fun evening just to be back on stage again and playing. We'll be back at I think Agoura Hills on Friday. We got a few gigs in a row starting at the end of next week, because tomorrow we head to New York to do the Doc Festival for the immediate family movie. We're going to be there'll be a screening on Tuesday evening at 9:30, and the whole band will be there to do Q&A afterwards. And then I'm going to stick around the following day, and I think at 1:30 we have another screening to do, and then I've got to head back to LA that on Wednesday evening. So I've got some stuff to do on Thursday. Yet they're going to do yet another screening on Thursday, and then our gig is on Friday. Start our gigs on Friday. So things are really busy. Been just trying to get a ton of work done around the house this morning before I leave town. So it's kind of endless. It just goes on. But the pups got bathed today. Pinky, the dog groomer, was here, who they just love so much. It's so great to have a dog groomer that just the boys, as soon as they see him, they roll over on their backs and they're just squirming around having a gay old time. It's really wonderful. He's really good. But today I was thinking about music, and I got news last night that I found really heartbreaking. And I think today is going to be a tribute. There's a player in town, and I'm going to show you his picture because he's in my book. He passed away yesterday. But if you can see it, it's this gentleman right here, Gene Cipriano. Sip, as everybody calls him in town. And I look at this, and this is really the kind of heartbreaking stuff. There's Clarence McDonald right there, who is no longer with us. He passed recently. And the great Mike Lang, who passed recently, too. Gets to be the hard part of the book for me. But Sip was unbelievable. He was one of the very last of the Wrecking Crew. I'm going to play a little bit of him playing just a couple of years ago at this club Vibrato, Herb Alpert's club, and he's playing. Then I'm going to read some bio stuff about him. But this was an important musician in the LA, in the music world, but certainly in the LA music scene. And every time you'd see him, you'd say, "Yo, Sip," he was one of these guys. So here we go. He's playing at this place. So here we go. I think it's Chuck Berghofer might be playing bass on this. So that's that's just a taste of him. But I'm going to read you this what they've got on here now. Hollywood's most recorded musician, Gene Cipriano, was born on July 6, 1929 in New Haven, Connecticut. Yo Cip, as everyone knows him, was brought up in a very Italian neighborhood comparable to Little Italy in New York City. He learned to play the clarinet when he was just 8 years old, being taught by his father, who played in the New Haven Symphony at the Schubert Theater in New Haven. Initially, like most Italian kids his age, Gene would hang out with boys on Worcester Street in New Haven and frequent Frank Pepe's pizza place. It's so good. I ate there a while back. It's still unbelievable. However, his father had other ideas for him, teaching him theory and clarinet lessons. Gene then began to listen to Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw and the like. He then said to himself that one day, this is what I want to do. While Gene was in high school, he joined his first ever band called the Ted Fiorito in New York, where actress Betty Grable used to sing with them. Before Gene was old enough to attend college, he was playing gigs at Yale University for some of the coolest parties on the campus. By the time he had built a professional reputation and was sought after by some of the leaders in the jazz world, Gene joined the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra and did a 5-week engagement at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Florida, where he met his future wife, Frances Irving. While settled in Los Angeles, Gene was recommended for a year-long staff job with the NBC Studio Orchestra by drummer Max Albright. That gig put Gene on the map in Hollywood and was the TV pilot for a show called Peter Gunn in 1958. Gene had received a call from Henry Mancini, who was working on the TV show at the time, and asked him if he played the flute and would like for him to be a part of it. Gene accepted to do the show, and the rest, we say, is history. The show went on. The show was what led to the precursor of his first 3 movies, West Side Story, Some Like It Hot, and Cleopatra, where he had some of his most remarkable musical recordings. By the time the TV and film industry in Hollywood was coming to light, and Gene was sought after because he was proficient with multiple instruments. The sultry, seasoned improviser with a genius that he as Cip could play any woodwind instrument in any style, his primary instrument, of course, being the saxophone, the oboe, flute, and clarinet. He has done recordings for over 1,000 movies, has played at all the Academy Award shows, except 3 since 1958. He has done the Grammys, the Emmys, and numerous TV shows. Gene has been one of the busiest working studio musicians of our time, with an amazing career spanning over half a century. He has worked with notable musicians like Henry Mancini, Frank Sinatra, Natalie Cole, Elvis Presley, Judy Garland, Rosemary Clooney, and Miles Davis. He was part of the Wrecking Crew, a group of studio musicians in Los Angeles who played in the 60s on hits for the Beach Boys, Nancy Sinatra, Sonny and Cher, Jan and Dean, the Monkees, just to name a few. A down-to-earth jazz maestro with a good sense of humor, which is no shit. Gene was credited with making the word yo a standard part of our vernacular, learning it from his friend and drummer Joe Gans, who always said yo before hitting the drums. I didn't know that one. This eventually rubbed off on Gene and it stuck with him from that point forward. A very funny and remarkable incident was one time in the 1977 Academy Awards, in which Barbra Streisand won the Best Song category and was on the podium receiving her award. Gene would go on and yell from the orchestra pit, "Yo, Barbara!" Barbara smiled back and said, "Yo, back," and continued her speech. He's such a character, such an unbelievable cat. In 2006, Gene released his first album called Gene Cipriano, First Time Out. What hits you on this album is how seasoned and pure his sounds are. His tone is round and pristine, and he swings. Throughout Gene's career, he was most often embedded in an orchestra and an ensemble, and occasionally had a solo. In this album, all he does is solo. Over the past few years, he had been on a project with Barry Manilow, Paul McCartney, and he has been in the band that plays for Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga. He was part of the Frank Sinatra 100th anniversary TV special at the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas and can be heard and seen on that television show. He also played in a lot of local big bands, and when the Ron Jones big band plays, they back up Seth MacFarlane. Other big bands Gene plays with are Johnny Mandel, Emil Richards, and many more. He also has a small band along with his best friend, Cat Connor, and they work at vibrato. Every time I see Sip, he and Cat were inseparable. Cat's really special too. Vibrato, and Vitello's, and a few other local clubs. Always takes up new challenges. Dean does a lot of record dates as of late where he says he enjoys them more than anything else. He claims that sometimes when you do a TV show week after week, the music gets stale and it's not a challenge anymore. But when you record a song, it lasts 3 minutes or so, and it is more challenging. There's another one on here that was interesting too. It says, I'll go on this one. Dave Pell, tenor sax coach Tony Curtis, with Gene Cipriano playing his solos in Some Like It Hot. Al Hendrickson coached actress Marilyn Monroe how to play the ukulele. Gerald Wiggins was her vocal tutor. Gene Cipriano was part of the Avenue Seals Emuka Electric Orchestra around 1967 when Frank Zappa recorded the orchestral parts for Lumpy Gravy. Cipriano played all but 3 of the Academy Awards since 1959. When Tex Beneke took over the late Glenn Miller band, one of the musicians was Cipriano, who played sax with Tex from 1949 through the end of 1950. He was also later in some of Tex's West Coast pickup groups. Cipriano was a longtime roommate with trombonist Dick Nash. Gene Cipriano was one of Hollywood's most recorded musicians, working with many of the greatest musicians and recording artists over the past 50 years. His impressive career embodies works with Henry Mancini, Frank Sinatra, Natalie Cole, Elvis Presley, Judy Garland, Rosemary Clooney, and Miles Davis. Chip is heard playing memorable flute solo on the movie Hitari, Baby Elephant Walk, and soloing tenor sax for Tony Curtis and Billy Wilder's acclaimed Some Like It Hot. I mean, there's so many different bios and things available now. Plus, there's tons of footage of Sip playing. But it was just a rough one yesterday. We got to the gig out at the Canyon Club and getting ready to play. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, "Did you hear what happened today?" I said, "No, what's going on?" He said, "Sip passed." I think Sip was about 94. But this guy was just he was one of the benchmarks of the LA studio scene, one of the most gifted musicians, one of the most giving human beings. Every time I went any place where I saw him socially, he was just the best hang. And when you walked in the studio and he was on the date, you just kind of went, yes, this is going to be good. Sip's on the date. And you go, yo, Sip. So today, that's what I wanted to do, is just comment on this remarkable, incredible musician who is no longer with us, but left a legacy that's really incredible. And it's worth looking up. Just go on YouTube and pull up Gene Cipriano. I'll have his name spelled on here. And just there's tons of interviews with him and funny stuff. And the guy had a great sense of humor. And definitely going to miss him. We are losing that golden age of players. These guys and gals were all really remarkable, remarkable musicians, and their legacy is something to behold. So I'm going to wish you all the very best. I'm going to get ready and get my stuff organized to head out tomorrow to get over to the New York and hopefully have a fantastic film experience and a slice. I definitely could use a good slice of New York pie. And if all goes well, maybe I can get over and see my dear friend Kevin Albinder over at Katz's and hang with him a little bit and grab a bite over there. So it's going to be a busy week. Also, the next live stream, because of these film festivals, and I have 2 album projects coming up, our next Clubhouse live stream is going to be on the 7th of December as of right now, because every Wednesday till then is packed solid. And I apologize for that. After that one, it looks like it's pretty loose for a while, so we'll be totally back on schedule. But I apologize for anything that, little confusion that this causes. But do what you gotta do. So take good care. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I will be back tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a little filming on the journey. We'll see how that all goes. Fingers are crossed. So take good care. And I'll talk to you later.